wise person once said, the more things change, the more they remain the same. And in 2015, it was uncommon to see a lot of racism coming from the right. I mean, if you did that, you're automatically banned on YouTube and you had no way to really support yourself. But in 2025, it's completely different. The white right is strongest it's been in the last 30 years, especially online. And one of the voices that we're talking about today is a pastor by the name of Joel Webbin. Joel Webbin is an American pastor and Christian nationalist figure. He is founder and president of Right Response Ministries and the senior pastor of Covenant Bible Church, located in the Austin, Georgetown, Texas area. He has many key beliefs and controversies, but for most black people who listen to him, he's extreme as they come. And I would argue even more extreme than Nick Fuentes. And this guy is a pastor. In one of the tweets he wrote just last month, he says, "A race war is coming. Every pastor who celebrated the degenerate George Floyd is responsible." I'm sitting here reading this, and the first thing I'm thinking about is this guy is supposed to be a man of God who should be trying to bring peace. But in many cases on the black side, many people could look at me as being on the black right, depending on who you are. But one thing I never do is say something like, a race war is coming soon. Now, do I believe that a race war may happen? I think so. It's possible in certain pockets. But one thing I will never do is say a race war is coming soon and say some person like, let's say Charlie Kirk is a degenerate or somebody like that on the white right is a degenerate like Nick Fuentes, especially if they're dead. And because it's just insensitive coming from a person that is a pastor. If you are a pastor and you represent Jesus Christ, and even if you feel that way, you don't need to say that on social media, because now you're not preaching the religion of Christianity. You're preaching something else. But he's just not vile when it comes to this. Guys, there's more.
And if that were to occur and the just penalties were to be enforced, you, the false accuser, is now put to death, and that's a public death. It's a public sentence, publicly carried out. Then the citizens of these United States of America, you know what they would do? Hashtag Me Too would end real fast. How do you, false accusing? Playing the victim when you're actually not? Like, you know how to end that real fast? All you have to do is publicly execute a who have lied.
So yes, guys, here's what the pastor saying. Any woman who makes false accusations against a man, that's right, that person should be publicly dealt with in front of the world, all right? Where you can see it. Now, let me just say this. But again, to say that in 2025, knowing where we are with women's rights and what kind of country that we run, it's stupid to say something like this because that will never happen. Even if the Bible did call for something like that, in our country, in the United States, that will never happen. Now, should that person go to jail? Should that person be punished severely? Yes. Publicly executing somebody, that's a stretch. Again, this is coming from a pastor. But wait, there's more.
The reason why I have grown to despise democracy is because it's not we the people. It's we the some people. And who are those people? Non-elected officials. Yep. Like what democracy, what it gives, lends its strength to is instead of having elected officials that have power, is a raw universal, because that's what we have is a universal democracy. Everyone is allowed to vote, right? Everyone. And just for the record, I think the 19th Amendment should be repealed. I think that because, well, first and foremost, because I'm a Christian, and that is the Christian position. Oh my gosh, you're saying that? Yes, that is the Christian position.
So here this guy is denying women the right to vote. Okay. Hold on, women. Here, this guy is denying women their right to vote. But wait, there's more.
And it's like, well, where do women get their voice? Where women get their voice is from their father, from their husband. If they're not married, it's from their father. If they're not married and their father is dead, it's from their brother, it's from their uncle, it's the men in their lives that love them.
So women shouldn't be allowed to vote. Women shouldn't be allowed to vote. The only people that can speak up for them are their father or their brothers or somebody like that. Okay? Now, he's going to use the Bible to justify this. Obviously, the United States government and the laws that are made are not bound by the scripture, all of them. So again, I don't even know why you're saying this, because even if you think that it could be the case, it will never be the case. And the reason why it will never be the case, because the United States won't operate based on what Mr. Joel Webbin wants. Again, a pastor talking like this is insane. But wait, there's more.
If you're a Christian white parent who loves the Lord and loves your children, that you need to have the talk. The talk that we're referencing is the talk that takes your children according to their maturity at the proper time, the appropriate time, and says, there are certain parts of town that you cannot go. And there are certain people that you cannot be around.
Yep.
Right? If there's someone who is black in our church and they've been in our church and we know them and they love the Lord Jesus Christ, great. We're not talking about that person,
right.
But we're talking about when you go into a crowd of people. If you go into a crowd of strangers and they're white strangers, there's some danger. If they're black strangers, there is 30 times more danger. Them's the facts. And it is actually a failure of your parental duty. White parents, please hear me. If you teach your children growing up, if you lie to them and say, all people and all races of people in our country are the same. They are not. You are actually depriving your child of factual, truthful information that could save their life.
Now, in this particular clip, he actually mentions the fact that he has black people in his congregation. And are there violent whites? Sure. But blacks can be 30 times as violent as whites. That, if you were to put that on a percentile format or a percentage format, he's basically saying that blacks are 3,000% as violent as white. And he has no numbers to prove this. He has no numbers to define this, but he's telling his church members that, hey, you gotta stay away from blacks because, sure, there's violence. Now, don't get me wrong. In the black community, there are certain things that we tell our kids to stay away from, okay? But certainly what you're hearing here from this guy is racial prejudice, all right? And again, this sort of movement is growing. You can only have a guy like this growing in popularity if other people believe it, okay? And that means people, he's a younger guy, he's 37 years old, something like that, 37, 39, I don't know, right? But he's no older than 40. But people support this guy. But here's the ultimate thing.
Hey, cut it out. You need to grow up. Stop throwing a fit. You're throwing a tantrum. Stop being a little boy. You're whining and crying about something that's ultimately your fault.
Yeah.
Stop blaming it on other people. It's your fault. Because here's the deal. It's like, well, slavery. The richest black people on God's green earth are African Americans. If slavery never happened, then you would be in a grass hut.
Yeah.
Right? Well, we need reparations. Your reparations are that you get to live in America. You're welcome.
You blacks need to stop crying. Stop throwing a fit, okay? You're the richest blacks on planet Earth. You have pretty much been blessed through slavery. All right, you're richer than anybody else. Get over it, all right? It's your fault. Now, again, this sentiment is growing, guys. Like, I'm seeing it growing. And no, it's not because the sentiment is growing because Donald Trump came into office, okay? That's not why it was growing. It was growing even before. That meant that at a certain level, and I saw this coming around 2015, 2016, whites were getting kind of tired of being apologetic and being blamed for everything that's wrong with black people, having to apologize for something that they felt like their generation isn't responsible for. So what it did, it kicked off this sort of movement that's always really been there with white supremacy. And now you're hearing this even more. Look at the guys like the RTTO guys, Return to the Land, guys like that. These dudes for years, these are the same guys who are getting so much support. They're getting money from judges. They're getting money from doctors to do this. They're getting money from police officers. See, a guy like this is not just getting support from poor whites. This guy is getting support from even guys on the left, I think. I can't prove it, but I would say that. You don't know what person is listening to this. And again, you can have white friends. You would not even know if this is true. You would not even know if they felt convicted to believe this. And this is exactly why, like a lot of blacks right now, you got to be very, very careful of who you talking to politically, what their identity is around about blacks. I mean, we can all have one white friend or one black friend, but you just really, 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 really don't know. All right. And these guys are going to get stronger. Look at Nick Fuentes. somebody like Nick Fuentes in today's world can be on the cover of New York Times. Before he got shut down on Spotify, he had the #1 podcast that week. That means that it's the sentiment amongst blacks, it's growing. Guys, this is growing. These ideas are growing, okay? The hatred is growing. Like, this is what guys don't get. It is growing. And we got to understand that it's just going to get worse. This anti-black narrative is going to get worse. Now it's monetizable. Now people want to make money from it. Like Elon Musk. Listen, if anybody talking crazy, if there is money behind it, they're going to monetize it. Even if it's hate speech. You're going to go from a time where if you're talking crazy, they'll just ban you. You have people who are banned on YouTube, and YouTube is allowing them to come back to the platform. You want to know why? Because these other platforms are getting better. Rumble's getting better. Facebook is getting better. Okay? Snapchat's getting better. X is getting better. They're not going to sit there and just lose money. These guys are bringing dollars with them with their hate speech. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy Oshay Duke Jackson back at it again. Another episode of The Celebrity Drunk. Appreciate you for all that you do. Skirt the bell. We're out.